The Duke and Duchess of Sussex faced more criticism over the weekend after they issued a statement through their website showing their apparent anger at not being allowed to use the term Sussex Royal as a trademark outside the UK.
So the couple said that they don't plan now on using the term royal, but they also included a line in the statement saying that the monarchy holds no jurisdiction over the words.
Well, here to talk about that with us, royal biographer Tom Bauer, who says Meghan and Harry have no right to use and abuse the royal family.
And journalist Afua Adom, who says the couple should be allowed to use the term. Welcome to you both. Tom, we were just talking about this with royal photographer Arthur Edwards, of course. They might have just, in the statement, been pointing out something factual. You know, there is no jurisdiction by the monarchy for them not to use this term, but they have agreed not to use it. The trouble is people are interpreting that incredibly negatively. I'm not sure that's entirely fair.
Oh, I think it's more than fair. I mean, that statement was really spiteful fury by Meghan. Meghan gets what Meghan wants.
What was spiteful about it?
Well, to be rude to the Queen. What was spiteful was that she married into the royal family not so long ago. She knew exactly the terms. She wanted to bail out, and she wants to bail out on her terms. And what's the most precious thing for this country is to protect the reputation of the royal family. And they want to go freelance. They want to go off and do charity and earn millions of dollars by marketing themselves.
But Tom,
using that title.
What might have been spiteful was if they said, actually, she's got no... The Queen, the monarch, has no jurisdiction, and therefore we are going to carry on using the term royal. They didn't say that. They said, we are no longer going to use the term royal. Afua...
Yeah, but that was a threat, wasn't it?
Well, what do you make of the way that this has been interpreted?
I think what is spiteful in this instance is the way that this whole statement has been interpreted. No other part of the statement has been talked about, where Harry talked about the work that he's going to be continuing to do with the armed service and the Invictus Games. There was nobody's talking about the fact that they said that they wanted to actually remain working with the royal family and with the Queen, but they're not going to do that. And like you so rightly said, it would be spiteful if they said that they were going to keep using the term royal anyway. It was a statement. It was very, very factual. There was no emotion in there. People are taking things that they say out of context, blaming it solely on Meghan, as per usual, as is at par for the course, as people have continuously done over this whole thing, and saying that it's only Meghan, assuming that Harry is weak-willed, assuming that she is somehow ruling him, she is somehow all-powerful. When it comes to Meghan and Harry, they cannot do right for being wrong. If
Tom,
that statement said the sky was blue, people would have a problem with that as well.
It's just a word, for heaven's sake.
No, it's a whole mention of it's a whole movement. I mean, what you really got are this couple led by Meghan who want to commercialise the royal family for their own benefit. How do you know that
the couple's led by Meghan? That's what I would like to know. Unless you're there with them during the conversations that they are having, how do you know that this couple is led by Meghan? Well, and isn't that actually quite offensive to Harry to imply that he, for some reason, cannot make his own mind and is not ruling his own life? They are a family of 3 people with a young son. And I think continuously blaming this on Meghan is so unhelpful.
Well, because it may be unhelpful to her, but it actually is the truth. The fact is that she has a whole life, a whole career of commercial exploitation of herself, and Harry doesn't.
Commercial exploitation or working?
You must let me finish.
Exactly, but actually, Tom, it's a good point. When you say commercial exploitation, you mean going out to work and getting paid?
Well, going out and getting paid.
that's what we all do.
And promoting herself. It is all about the personality of Meghan.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
Nothing, but you can't use the royal tag for that.
And they're not going to.
Well, of course they are. That's exactly the point.
But they've just said that they're not going to.
Well, why did they say that? The point is that they are going to do it because she has absolutely no status other than as attached to the royal family.
OK, so this is interesting, Tom.
She would have no commercial value at all.
OK, so when you say... Because, I mean, now this isn't just interpreting that statement as spiteful. This is actually saying it's a lie, that they are going to carry on using the royal term. What do you mean?
Well, what I mean is that her only status is as part of the royal family.
That's
if she wasn't married to Harry,
if
she wasn't married to Harry, she could not set up a charity. She could not start marketing Meghan footwears and all the rest of it. She is there as the daughter-in-law of Charles and the rest. And let me just finish. And so what you've now got is they've slightly retreated so as not to make it too awful.
OK,
but actually, the retreat is just a facade.
Afua.
Before Meghan Markle married Harry, she was a successful actress in her own right who was known for doing a heck of a lot of charity work. She set up brands, she had a blog. Before she married Harry, she was successful in her own right, and she can continue to do that. And it's completely disingenuous to say that without Harry, she would have no status. And actually, this isn't about status. And I think it's actually really spiteful for you to say that they're going to continue using Sussex Royal when in that statement, which is what we are here both talking about, they've said that they are not going to use that.
Yes, but they also said they're not using it reluctantly. And the point is about Meghan that her career had actually come to pretty much of an end when she met Harry. And we were all very pleased when they married. It was the most marvellous day and era. But now it's got worse. Now we're at the point where they're trying to make money out of the connection to the royal family. And that's just not on.
Isn't it possible that she was a successful actress whose and that particular role might have come to an end, but that she just came to England, met a prince and fell in love with him. And as a result, they, yes, we all celebrated their wedding. She found it very tough, but, despite all the warnings, perhaps much tougher than she thought it was going to be. She didn't like the media coverage. They didn't like the way that they were treated. They didn't find a comfortable place within the royal family. And they have simply decided to uproot and go somewhere where she, as the mum of the baby, feels more at home. Why is it always so negative? Everything talked about Meghan is so negative.
Because of the hypocrisy. Because at the beginning, she threw herself into it and then slowly came out, we're going to campaign for the environment. She kept on flying around in private jets. That there's continuous demand for attention. She was continuously putting out her version of events which contradicted the actual facts. And so she became a political person as much as a mother and a wife.
OK, so
and
she's made some errors and some missteps.
She didn't make errors. When she didn't tell the truth about the birth or the circumstances around Archie, when she tried to deliberately confuse people about the time of the birth and what he looked like...
Hold on a second. Tom, let's just stop for a second. Let's just stop for a second and try and get back on what we're supposed to be talking about, which is, this use of the... Because this is just turning into sort of a sort of attack on Meghan herself. But what we're really trying to focus on here is the tension around a couple trying to make their way in the world and whether they can exploit or whether they are exploiting the royal brand to a small or to big profit, and whether there's a problem with that. And do you have a problem with that, Afua?
Absolutely not. But like I've said earlier on, is that when it comes to Meghan and Harry, there seems to be no ability to see anything that they do as potentially right for them. Bill, you've had to stop someone bashing Meghan on air, as per usual. It's not all about Meghan. It's about Meghan and Harry and Archie and what is best for them. And this is the thing, is that if they put out a statement saying that we're going to continue using the royal purse, as it's so-called, people would have a problem with that as well. People would find a problem with that as well.
Tom,
but now that they're saying that they're going to work and do what they can to build their brand and make their own money, people have a problem with that as well. They cannot do right for doing wrong.
It's not what's best for them, it's what's best for the Queen. It's what's best for the monarchy. It's what's best for Britain, to which she voluntarily attached herself. And if they do anything to damage the Queen, the 93-year-old sovereign of this wonderful country, then they have got to start questioning themselves. And it is not what's good for them. That is that sort of selfish, victim-like approach to the world. They have got to think what's the best for the Queen and our country. And
without using the royal title, they can still make a success commercially of themselves, can't they? But do you think that, because, people know them now as Harry and Meghan, do you think that in itself could be damaging, even if the word royal isn't associated?
I think the problem really is that they're surrounded by people who are actually vultures. Vultures who are seeking to earn a percentage of income from marketing. And the marketing is all to do with the Queen and the British royal family. And that is the potential damage. And what that statement yesterday showed was that she, Meghan, and perhaps Harry too, but I doubt it, actually are taking the advice of their advisors and not the best interests of the royal family.
And what impact do you think that this is having on the Queen?
I think it's a terrible, sad thing for the Queen, and I don't think she deserves it. And I think Meghan should stop being selfish and start thinking of a 93-year-old monarch who has done this country enormous service, and she's making her unhappy.
Afua?
I think to continuously drive home this narrative that Meghan is in some way solely destroying Harry and the Queen and the royal family is completely disingenuous and it's wrong. But I would like to say that anything that is upsetting a 93-year-old woman obviously cannot be good. And I would not want that to happen. But I think this continuous Meghan bashing has got to stop.